Welcome to EFT MBA Mastering Business Acumen with the help of EFT business experts. Learn the marketing, mindset, and skill set you need to create the EFT coaching practice of your dreams. Visit www.eftmba.com for more information. And now, here's the EFT training team that embodies the art and science of EFT. Alina Frank and Dr. Craig Weiner.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our show. We're really excited about this topic. And we made it. We had a lot of things going on right before the show, but we're here. We're just so delighted, and we got a lot of already some great buzz about what this show is going to cover. So we train.
I was just gonna say that I posted out on social media, and I am just getting people going, oh my God, this is so important. I work with this, I deal with this with the clients I work with other coaches, and it's gaining a lot of buzz. Apparently, this is a topic that really needs to be talked about. So that's why we're here.
Yep. So we have worked with thousands of EFT clients and students, and we watch for relevant trends in the field. And one trend that has intrigued us, and one that we feel very passionate about reversing, is this whole idea of why women get stuck in their business. So we have fabulous students and mentees that go through our programs who are women. The vast majority are women, and those of you that have gone to live trainings know that you look everywhere, you look around you, and most of the people attending are women. So they have great training, they develop really good tapping skills, have great resources and connections, they're great people, and yet they struggle in creating successful practices. There seems to be a bit of a gender discrepancy in the creation of a successful business, even outside of a corporate glass ceiling profession like EFT. So we're devoting the next 30 minutes. We know how valuable your time is, so we always stick to 30-minute shows. And so we're going to spend the next 30 minutes really hashing out what's here, and what needs to be resolved. So, Craig, you want to talk about some of the amazing numbers of women and how women are really driving the economy?
Well, I just want to say women rock, and especially in business, So let's just give some definite acknowledgement to just a major shift that's happened. So, right now in the United States alone, there's over 10 million businesses owned by women. Mm-hmm. That's huge. It's a huge number. Their business accounts for over $2.5 trillion in sales. Wow. That is no small thing. It's huge, and it continues to grow. Women are just taking over. Here we go. We just got to keep going with it. 20% of all women-owned businesses used only $10,000 or more to start their business. Okay.
Actually, I want to clarify that statistic. So the statistic was that 20% of all women-based businesses used between $10,000 and $50,000 to start their businesses. And I would say that if you do it right, with the right resources, you can start your EFT business with a lot less, which is what I had to do. I was forced to do that. I did not have the money to spend to really spend on a $25,000 website. I didn't have tens of thousands of dollars to give to a success coach. And so that's one of the things that is really attractive about starting an EFT business, is that you can start it pretty relatively inexpensive shoestring if you need to, and then reinvest the money that you make into it when you start having that money come in.
Good. It does. That is wonderful when you start to look at, you do, of course, have your expenses to get trained. Mm-hmm. Appropriately, right? Mm-hmm. And you've got your basics to get into the business for your certification, and you have your basics to be able to open up with, your insurance and your promotional materials. But in the big picture of opening a business, that's a pretty small chunk of change overall to get started into a business career.
Compared to other professions, compared to a brick and mortar business. I mean,
Absolutely.
you have a brick and mortar business, and we don't need to talk about how much that took to get started.
No, we don't need. as a chiropractor. Think about all the equipment that you need as a tapping professional. You need your hands, your fingertips, right? And you need a telephone and headset, right? Mm-hmm. And you need, you need to be able to design a website. You've got your cards.
You need to wait a minute. I sometimes you say things, and I just like to clarify. You said to develop your website. We don't. A lot of us have absolutely no technical experience in designing and starting a website. So
I said to create one. I didn't say you design it. So you're going to have help, right? So you have those costs of those things. But compared to what kind of inventory you got?
Yeah. What kind of inventory I got? Well, now, because I've been able to reinvest in my business, I have all kinds of products and things like that. But as far as overhead, I use, for most of the time, I do have a one-day-a-week practice, but most of the time I'm sitting here in my home in a space that I created just to be able to work on Skype or with the occasional in-house client. So that's it, a desk and my laptop, and I'm good to go.
So that's a huge advantage, and that allows women who don't necessarily have a large investment income or capital to be able to put into it to be an easy start or entryway into the profession without having to have a large capital expenditure, and that's really helpful.
Yep. So let's talk about why women in particular do we think are really wanting to start and succeed in their EFT coaching businesses. There are several reasons, and I think that they apply not only to EFT coaching businesses in particular, but also any kind of healing arts profession. Why women, we see them in droves looking to do this. And so number one is that women are just unhappy with corporate culture. They really are. That's why those numbers are so high. And last month there was a lot of controversy with the COO of Facebook. I'm forgetting her name. I want to say it's Sheryl Sandberg, but she wrote a book called Lean In. And it raised a lot of, there was a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of editorial comments about this from women, because she's saying, lean into the problem. Yes, we have a serious corporate culture problem women just don't want to deal with. And she's saying, stay in it and change it. And quite frankly, with the entrepreneurs that I work with and our students that we see, enough's enough. They've just done it, and they say, no, it's not fulfilling. Sometimes I have to deal with sexual harassment. I still have to deal with the ceiling. And a good example of that was the editor of the New York Times who came out that huge discrepancy in salary, right? So for all of those reasons, women are deciding, no, I'd rather do something on my own, and they're leaving the corporate culture. Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, no, that was well said. Perfect.
Two?
Yeah, number two.
Can I take it?
Sure, go for it. You know what? I think you know this topic even a little bit better than I do, so I'm going to let you roll with it and add in when I have something valuable to add.
Okay. All right. So so number two is that women become moms, and suddenly you want that flexibility and you want to be more free with your time and your energy. And certainly an EFT coaching business, or again, any healing arts profession that you start, will give you that. You have a lot of control about your schedule, about what days you prefer to take off. Friday afternoons I don't work, and I can spend time enjoying my family. And for a lot of women, there isn't that flexibility. Certainly in if you work in like retail or in a service industry, you're having to work crazy hours and not being compensated very well. And if you are in a 9-to-5 job in a corporation, you have less I mean, really, those hours don't work for moms very well, do they? So I think that's I see it. It happened to me. I struggled, and I had a wonderful job, and I had lots of flexibility. And yet, when I had my second child, I didn't want to commute 45 minutes each way and drop off, 2 kids. I just couldn't do it. Something inside of me was just like breaking every time that I did that. So I found a way to stay at home for a little while and just be a full-time mom. And then I transitioned to starting my own healing arts practice. So I see that often, that at that point women just want to make their kids and their families more of a priority, and so they switch over at that point. So number 3 is that for a lot of women, I think more so than men, quite frankly. I mean, working with female entrepreneurs and male entrepreneurs, I would say that we in particular need to live a life with purpose and meaning. We really need that. There's a part of us as women, the caretakers, those of us that help others in so many ways. We do want to give back in a really meaningful way. We want to, when this life is over, we want to feel like we helped many people, and we were able to change lives, and we had a sense of purpose. And so I think that that's another real reason why women are wanting to start and thrive in their EFT businesses. And then the other thing that women, there is something about, and Craig, you can write a blog post about this. I know how much you love the neuroscience of all the things that we do. So women in particular are shown to be better multitaskers, and we have loads of energy to do different things. And when we're talking about having our own business, and that really serves us well to have the energy to direct into our business, and once we get over our fears, our marketing, and be able to serve all kinds of different populations. So that we're incredible with multitasking and have loads of energy is another reason why women start the EFT coaching businesses.
And I think that they can be very good at that, at being able to handle well family and independent business, that they have the ability, as you said, to be flexible with their time and their energy, and it really is a perfect fit. And I think that's a really important reason why we see I would literally say 80 to 90% of our EFT students and mentees are women regularly.
Yep.
So I think, there's a reason for that.
Yep. So let's talk about some things that you should consider when you are at the precipice of starting your EFT business, or if you're not doing as well as you can be. Let's talk about the things that you need to consider here when looking at your business. Okay.
So a few things that you're going to want to consider. Let's start off with number 1, is don't quit your day job first, right? We don't recommend that you go ahead and you say, you know what, I'm going to be an EFT tapping coach, professional, et cetera, and I am just going to jump into this. I'm going to quit my day job and just get my practice going. I've seen some people out there that are out there and growing and doing great. I'm just going to quit my day job and start that.
Now, okay,
right?
yes, and so keep going. I want to say something at the end when you're done explaining.
Yeah. So you know what? You're going to be doing double duty, but you won't have. Well, actually, you know what? Why don't you take the thought with that? Because I know where you're going to go, and I think it'd be better if you went there first.
Okay. So because you will be working and you will be working towards creating your business, right? Taking the steps to be certified, doing all of the business prep work that needs to be done in order to launch your business and all of those things. You are going to be doing double duty. Yeah, we acknowledge that. Yes, you're going to be you're going to be expending a lot of energy. But what you don't need to pile on to that double duty and working towards creating your business while you still have a day job is the additional financial burdens, right? You just don't need that. It takes money, even if it's just a few $1,000s at first to get started, but you're not going to be rolling in the dough on day one. Let's just make that very clear. You're not. So if you can set aside money while you're doing this and let go of the financial strain that it would be to just completely quit on day, I'm going to do this and I'm just going to jump off a cliff. Now, that said, here's the caveat. Here is the exception. If you have started a business before and know how to raise capital, if you have experience in grant writing and have done it successfully, if you are already in social work or if you're a licensed therapist or something of that nature, that's when we can say absolutely. Then you can make that jump. You don't have to feel like you've got to come up with some magical number of, I have to have 10 clients a week in my EFT practice in order to completely, quit my day job. But how many of these women fit that category that we see? Maybe 5% fit that bill.
Right.
Yep. Right. So really, I know that you'll get people out there telling you, yes, you have to devote yourself completely and jump off the cliff. We see so many people struggling because then it's that added pressure, burden, fear, crisis, chaos. Oh my gosh, how am I going to make my rent? Why do that to yourself? Don't. Something to consider, right? Something to consider.
Stress really can take you down because, what we know physiologically about stress is when you're under that kind of pressure and stress, good old prefrontal cortex is not working optimally, right? So we're not being most creative in our thinking. We're not creating collaborations that are outside the box. We're not the best place to be writing original material from because we're under that kind of stress load, and that doesn't work in our behalf most of the time.
Excellent. Okay. You want to take number 2?
Number 2, be aware of energy leaks. You are going to need all the energy that you can muster for building a successful business. The energy that you're leaking from, any number of things, bad relationships, partners that are taking your attention and energy away because you're having to take care of that situation all the time, whether it be personal partners in a relationship, business partners, so the reasons why they stay first and, here's what I want to say about that is when we start to look at all the different ways that energy can leak out and we're really focusing on growing our business, we really have to tend to those leaks. So a good strategy might be, okay, I'm about to really embark on putting this energy forth on creating content and reaching out to my community. What are the pieces that I need to handle first in my personal life that when handled, neutralized, etc., will give me that much more energy? Because we're always looking to what can I create out there? What can I do? What can I create? What kind of connections can I make? All those external energy ways that we're looking to make things happen when we will free up a ton of energy when we take care of the things that are sapping our own energy and give us a lot more freedom and time and energy and ability to focus outside of ourselves in our marketing, in our reaching out, in our involvement in the community. Because when we have things that on the home front are sapping that emotion, energy, etc., boy, we just don't have a lot free for those ways that we wish to go out into our community and the world with, business-wise.
Yeah, I wrote an article about this a few years ago, and what I called it was shaking. It was something like shaking the pillars of your foundation, right? So here I am. I'm standing on my foundation, like as if I am building a house. I'm building my business. I'm building a house, and the foundation, if it is not rock solid, I'm not going to get very far. And so my foundation, if it's built on a platform of really crappy romantic relationship, oh my gosh, I see that left, right, and center. It's like it then. What I've seen female entrepreneurs do is get sick. They run out of money. All kinds of weird things start to happen because they're not in the right partnerships with people. I mean, women just they live for relationship. We are programmed to just have relationships with people, and if what we're building our business life on is a solid and stable home life, and that isn't there, the rest of it's just not going to happen. So you've got to work at that, and sometimes that does mean leaving, and sometimes that does mean staying and repairing, and sometimes it means ending bad girlfriend relationships and limiting the amount of time you spend on the phone with your mother, right? So all of those things are energy leaks. Be very mindful of that and draw back your power and your energy by limiting or eliminating.
Good. Very good.
Changing.
No.
Yep.
No, that's great. Okay. What about specifically finding your passion? Right? So in other words, I think that a passion for healing and a passion for changing people's lives is really, really, really important. But especially women need to be energetically fed by aligning with what they're passionate about. I think I think we all do, but I think especially women really need to feel that what they're doing has a purpose and a vision, is aligned with who they are and what they want to see in the world. And when they're not aligned with that, I think that it really takes away that if they can't align money with vision, I believe that there is an inherent problem that happens there and a disconnect, don't you?
Absolutely. And I would also say that it's important to find your passion in the marketing strategies that you resonate with. So if you are a good, let's say you're passionate about writing, then really that's where you need to focus your attention on. If you're really passionate about, and yes, there are people out there that really love filming video, fantastic. Do it right, do it well, know what you're doing, make sure you know what keywords to use and that sort of thing when you're putting it out there, but do it. So if you like having if you like audios, then that's what you need to be doing. So finding your passion not only in who you decide to work with the most, aka your niche or what you're specializing in, but also who you want to be networking with, communicating with, and the different channels for that and the different media outlets for that. So finding your passion, so very important for women. We just need that. That's part of what drives us is the passion part. And when you're driven and you're passionate about something, then you're in the flow. You are in the flow completely, and that actually opens you up to more abundance.
Good. Well said.
Okay. So number 4, I'm going to say is prioritize. You need to consider how you are going to prioritize, right? Everything has a dark and a light, right? So in the light, oh yeah, super multitasker, super loads and buckets full of energy. I could do everything all the time, and I could be, the captain of industry and Martha Stewart. No. So, I got a quote from the dean of Cornell Medical College, and she says that she likes to admit that her linens aren't perfectly folded all the time, and that she had to decide what mattered and what didn't, and learned to be a perfectionist in only the things that mattered. Learn to be a perfectionist in only the things that really matter. And where does it matter? It matters in your coaching skills, in your coaching work. Doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to have the perfect branding. In fact, I advise against that. Or the perfect the color scheme for your website. But also, the real thing that I want to stress here is at home. At home, you cannot do all things and be all things to all people and create a successful business. When you start off, you need to accept help. You need to ask for help. You need to get support from your partner. And so know that for us, we're used to doing it all. Step back and say, how can I prioritize and do the things that I need to do well, and the other things, who cares? You know, if Craig's up in a different part of our house, and I'm sure as you walked from our office downstairs up to the phone to start this podcast, you probably ran across some dog hair and, you know, a couple of dirty dishes and, you know, walking by our kids' room, like, forget about it. So that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And I worked enough on myself to know that the obsession that I had with cleanliness and all of that crap, that was my mom's story. And I got rid of the need to be that way in order to have the successful business that I love having today.
That's well said. It is selection and choosing and prioritizing. Well said. And lastly, you know, what ultimately do we need to do amidst all of this? Because there's doing and there's clearing and there's prioritizing and all the different things that we went over. And ultimately, one of the things that we have to do to be able to thrive amidst all of that, speaking to women, but really, of course, speaking to all of us, is taking care of ourselves, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the process, right? So, you know, in the airplane, what is the stewardess or the steward who's giving the announcement? They say, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you go to help anybody else, right? I know it's so obvious, but we have to take care of ourselves first in order to have the energy and reserves and resourcing state to be able to really help others. And, you know, there's such a tendency in the health and healing professions to put other people first, to take care of them. Well, we do that to the point of exhaustion, and then we can't, and then we collapse and we break down in disease or all the different states that take us out of balance. We have to take care of ourselves first. Yeah. Right.
So what does that mean? That means sleeping. That means getting off of Facebook and having that be a major distraction to you taking care of yourself. You're gonna have a lot more benefits going outside for a walk, or going to have getting a massage or a foot rub or anything, rather than to turn on some media and get lost. Taking care of yourself, going to sleep at a regular bedtime, and unplugging, eating well, exercising, meditating, tapping. So all of these are self-care protocols that you need to put into place, because right now, before you have a super full practice, if you don't have these in place now, it certainly will not happen when you are so busy that you don't have it as a routine.
Good. Yep. Really good point there.
Okay, great. So this was wonderful to be here with you all today. Please go check us out at EFTtappingtraining.com. Sign up for our newsletter there, and you can check out our EFT MBA program. And we just closed our doors.
We should make an announcement about that, because
we just closed our doors, and we have fabulous people from. We have people from Switzerland. We have people from Australia. We have people from all over the U.S. And it's just incredible, the group that we have. And we're going to start. Yeah. We start reviewing applications in a few months for the next round. So thank you all very much. Yeah. And remember, keep on tapping.
Thanks, everybody. Join you next time.